everybody, Crafting Journey here, that Journey Chick on Instagram. Welcome to another edition of Crafting and Crime Daily, the Saturday edition. Yeah. Okay. It is Saturday and windy as heck outside. I have my windows open and the curtains were blowing in the breeze. Perfect morning to sleep in. Guess who didn't want to sleep in? Stitch. Yep. I don't know where he is. I love that cat. And this month, Stitch is 1 year old. Yay. Next month, Pearl will be a year old. They came from different litters. Same house, different litters, different mom cats. I think they had the same dad, though. Anyway, let's get the planner out. We have the planner out. Planner out. Oh, my goodness. It is March. So my sister bought all the fixings to make a St. Patrick's Day dinner because she insists that we are Irish. Okay, I believe you. I don't know. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. She says we are. We'll roll with it. Corned beef and, oh my God, corned beef is expensive. Holy moly. Yeah, the whole 9 yards. Potatoes. Last night we had chicken wings. Oh my God, I haven't had a chicken wing in so long. But they were so expensive. Have you noticed that you can't even find chicken wings in the grocery store? So I guess for these restaurants to be able to get the supply of them, they have to pay a lot of money and pass that fee along to us. Yeah. So that was an expensive, we could have gone to a nice restaurant, had a sit down dinner for what it costs to get some chicken wings and carrot sticks. Yeah. Who knew? All right. Planner time. It's Saturday. So today I'm working on the wheels. Working on the wheels. Working on the wheels. What do I mean by that? Well, Ticket to Ride Destination Paris has come to an end, and we are giving out some amazing grand prizes to everybody that earned tickets during the event. So I have to make up these prize wheels, one for each prize package. 21 different prize packages. So 21 people are going to walk away tomorrow with some fabulous prizes. That'll be tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings with Crafting Journey. So check that out. 11 Central Time. 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific Time. Hey, I'm crackerjack this morning. Hey, you know what? Don't forget to hit the like button on your way in or out of the show today. Yesterday, he attempted to watch YouTube and fix my sister's car. Was not successful. In fact, she almost got stuck in a parking lot because the starter, I don't know what he did to it. So we're not talking to the like button today. No, we're ignoring him. Yep. Hey. Sorry, like button. Please subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode of Crafting and Crime Daily or any other pop-up that I might do. Also, if you're already subscribed to the channel, please consider becoming a Patreon member or a member of the channel. Either way, it's fine with me, and both of those monetary donations go to support the content of the channel, and it means so much to me. Welcome, Sparkles the Lady. She's my new Patreon, and I'm so excited to have you on board. Welcome to the family, the Crafting and Crime family. Mostly crafting. We don't do crime here, but we talk about crime. So okay, back here. So on this day in history, we are going to talk about a snowball fight. Yes, what happened when this snowball fight broke out? Snowball fight. And in this, this is National Multiple Personality Disorder Day. Multiple, if I can spell it, personality disorder day. So yesterday, went to the cardiologist, and I was having chest pain. My anxiety has been whoosh, way up here lately. So, I answered the question. Honestly, are you having chest pain? Yes, I am. Actually, I am, but it's anxiety. I told him, Dr. Saad, it's anxiety. He's my doctor. I said, I love the guy. You know, we know each other. We work together. So I'm like, it's my anxiety, really. You know. So he's like, no. I want to get some lab work. Make sure you're not having a heart attack. You know, if the lab work's okay, then I'll clear you for surgery. If it's not, I'm going to send you to the emergency room. But the lab work was fine. He did a troponin level. If any of you know what that is, it's a enzyme in your blood that gets elevated if you're having a heart attack. And there was, you know, I was fine. Which I knew I was. As soon as I got out of his office, I took my anxiety pill, and it went away for a little while. Anyway, things are going to get better. It's going to get better. Look what I got in the mail. So the other day, it's a little tight. The other day, Mickey and I were, Mickey Sunshine Creates and I, she's my bestie. We were, she's not been feeling well, so I'm trying to find ways to cheer her up. I'm like, let's do some retail therapy. She's like, great, I can share my screen. So we're on Facebook Messenger. If you do that, if you do a conversation on Facebook Messenger, you can share your screen. So she shares her screen, and we are on Amazon, and we're like, I want to get a caftan. You know, all I need now is a cocktail and, a butler to serve me the cocktails. Yes. Don't I look like a Southern woman? I should talk like this now, because I have myself a caftan. So we're ordering caftans, and she's in bed, and she's like, and it was cheering her up. So I was happy to do it. I think she got her first one yesterday, because we ordered more than one. Yeah. I have another one that's like a blue stripe, and it has almost like a shirt look to it, you know, as a collar and everything. So, and I ordered a couple more. I think these are going to be great for when I, let me stand up and show you. Oh, we need music, ready? Fashion show. Okay. All right, if you're still here, yes, like I said, I just need my cocktail and a butler, and I'm good to go. So, but I'm glad I was able to cheer her up, and I think wearing these out when I have the surgery is going to be great, because they're loose fitting, and I can just throw it over my head, and I don't have to worry about putting on pants, and it looks good in public if I have to go to the doctor for my checkups or whatever. Alrighty, so pay the rent. I am going to do that today, I swear. I did refinance the car. I am so happy. I went from a 24% interest rate to a 10% interest rate. Let me just tell you something. CarMax, don't do it, guys. Do not do it. 24% interest. What was I thinking? You know what I was thinking? I had just wrecked my car. I had totaled my car. I needed a car. And I don't have the best credit. I mean, I have good credit, but unfortunately, there's a condo on my credit report that I still own with another person. He pays all of the fees associated with it, and he keeps it up to date, so it's always on time. However, my debt to income ratio looks a little askew sometimes, but that's another story for another day. Let's talk about multiple personalities. Now, you can look at this two ways. You can celebrate it as a day to recognize people that have multiple personalities, also known as dissociative disorder. Dissociative disorder? No. No, that's not the name of it. What is the name of it? Hold on. It's also known as dissociative identity disorder, and it only affects like 0.1 to 1% of the population. But when it does affect that person, it affects their family, their lives. It's just like totally disruptive. The person will have like blank areas of their memory where they just like have no idea what they were doing, what was going on, and during that period of time they had another personality take over. I've watched all kinds of shows on it. We've seen movies about multiple personalities. Always fascinating, very, very fascinating. They can be small children, they can be adults, they can be old people, they can be men, women, or we can talk about this. It's also a day where we can just talk about our own personality and our different aspects of our own personality and how to recognize those. Like, you don't want to mess with me certain times of the week, because I'm just a bear to live with. When I get into these certain moods, and I'm like, it's really like I'm another person. Like, who? I'm even looking at me going, who is that person, and why is she talking that way? I don't know. And then I have my depression states where I'm like boo-hooing over stupid stuff, and people are like, you're too sensitive. Well, it's not me. It's the other personality that's too sensitive. It's not me. So, anyway, it's, recognize that you have certain personality traits and you just accept it. There's going to be times when you get the bitch in me, and there's going to be times when you get the depressive me, and then there's just going to be times where you get me. Hey, that wasn't nice. Like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. All right, let's talk about crafting and crime daily. Okay, thank you for tuning in. We are covering the that was a different personality. We're covering the trial of Dr. William Husel out of the Mount Carmel Grove City Hospital up in Ohio. So he is on trial for 14 murders. Originally, he was charged with 25. Now it has been narrowed down to 14. And this has been a big cluster, from the very day it was discovered. I mean, I am putting myself in the position of this risk manager, and I would just be shaking my head like, what? So yesterday I listened to the several different people testify. The first one was Dr. Gina Moody. Very pleasant woman. She is board certified in pulmonary and critical care medicine. She worked day shift in this same ICU, and she would pick up some night shifts. So the bottom line, what they got through in her testimony was that if she was doing a palliative extubation, which she did many times, under these same circumstances as Dr. Husel, she would use morphine and Versed. Even prior to this order set being put into place, that was her usual routine, morphine and Versed. She never, ever used fentanyl in that situation. Never. She said the goal is that you want to use the lowest effective dose to maintain comfort, which I understand. So the next doctor to come on is Dr. Woodkey. Very pleasant woman. She's an internal medicine doctor. She's a hospitalist. And for those of you who don't know what that is, you haven't been in a hospital lately. Anytime you get in the hospital now, you can't bring your own doctor, your own family doctor into the hospital with you now. Nope, they don't come to the hospital. You have to see a hospitalist who knows diddly about your history. Yeah, don't get me started on this. Doesn't know squat about you. But they're very good doctors. I'm not going to say they're not. But anyway, this Dr. Woodkey, she was only involved in one of the 14 patients, but the patient was admitted to her service. See, the ICU doctors don't take admissions. They take consults. So when any of these patients came into the hospital, no matter what their condition, whether they were being coded and intubated or whatever, they would be assigned to a hospitalist. So the hospitalist would follow that person's care when they're in the ICU, when they get out of the ICU, all the way to discharge. So she was assigned one of the 14 patients who was, by the time she actually saw her for the first time, she was already in the ICU under the care of the Dr. William Husel. And she is the one that signed the death certificate. And her testimony really wasn't, I didn't get much from it. She wasn't on the stand very long. Then the really interesting guy, Dr. Schwanner, Dr. Schwanner. I've been calling him the chief medical officer. His official title was Vice President of Medical Affairs. And he's a family medicine doctor. He had prior experience working. Is this still on? Is that still on? Okay. He had prior experience working as a pharmacist. So the first time he becomes aware, well, let me back up a step. He was responsible for hiring Dr. Husel. He hired Dr. Husel, who he said this was his first job out of residency. So he hired him. He had been training at the Cleveland Clinic. So when he hired him, the understanding was, and it's in the bylaws of the medical staff, that you can come on to the medical staff, but you have a certain amount of time to become board certified in something. Now, Dr. Husel is an anesthesiologist and a critical care medicine doctor. So he was required to become board certified in one of those. So more to come on that later. So the first time that this Dr. Schwanner gets involved in this is 2018, October 26, 2018. Now, this has been going on since 2014, but he doesn't see any of this till 2018, when after this administrative meeting is over, the risk manager approaches him and said, hey, I have a concern. I'm going to be sending it your way, this event report. Dr. Husel is giving these large amounts of fentanyl for palliative withdrawal. So the guy says, well, we're just send it to the, the peer review, have them. Now, keep in mind, this is October 26th. He says, send it to peer review. She's like, okay. And now peer review, I explained, I think yesterday, this is a group of physicians who monitor each other. So if any kind of untoward event occurs, or anything outside the ordinary, or a behavioral issue, doctor's throwing a fit or yelling at a nurse, it goes in front of the peer review committee. And these are just doctors. It's a closed proceeding. There's no notes taken, and they just judge what this doctor did. So Dr. Schwanner's thinking, okay, went to peer review. Then on November 19th, they have another, one of these routine meetings. And afterwards, the risk manager comes up to him again. She goes, hey, this has happened again. And he's like, didn't it go to peer review? And she says, oh, no, they canceled the November meeting. They're going to have the meeting in December. And he's like, we can't wait till December now. This has happened twice. So he starts his own investigation. So the next day, he's looking at it, and he sees that there, in his words, are extraordinarily large doses of fentanyl being administered during these palliative withdrawals. And he said, I was quite alarmed by this. As a former pharmacist, as a physician, I was very alarmed by this. So on November 21st, the very next day, he learns of a third patient. He gets an email from the risk manager with the subject matter line that says, well, it happened again. Okay. So at this point, they convene a leadership meeting, and Dr. Husel is taken off of the schedule for the MICU. So what that means is he's just there, because he's not really an employee of the hospital, he's contracted, they just take him off the schedule. And they let him know he's being investigated. But to the, on cross-examination, to Jose Baez's point, and it was a good one, did you ever talk to Dr. Husel? If you were conducting this investigation, why didn't you call Dr. Husel in and say, hey, Dr. Husel, what's with the large doses of fentanyl? How are you justifying this? Never had this conversation with Dr. Husel. Just takes him off the schedule. Then, now let's get back to the board certification. Now, this same Dr. Schwanner, he's on the credentialing committee. Now, the credentialing committee is the committee that looks at the applications, the initial applications, and he says, I do remember Dr. Husel's initial application. We approved it with the caveat that he would get board certified. He apparently, after 5 years, had still not become board certified. Now, how did that, and meanwhile, you get re-credentialed every 2 years. So he went through 2 re-credentialings, still not board certified, but they left him on staff. Not good. So eventually, during this investigation, they had to notify the police department where detectives came out. They had to notify CMS, the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare. It's mandatory that you report this, and then you have to conduct your own investigation. But you do have to report it because you're accepting Medicare and Medicaid, and you lose those the privilege of having that insurance if you don't report it. Then they had to report it to the pharmacy board. They had to report it to the Board of Nursing. They had to report it to the Board of Medicine. They had to report it to the National Practitioner Data Bank. Because what they eventually did, it did go to the peer review committee, and the peer review committee was not comfortable in deciding this case. This happens infrequently, but it does happen. This is, where the peers say, whoa, we're not comfortable with this. So what they do is they send it for an outside peer review, external peer review. So they pick a physician that's not associated with the hospital system, and they hire him to look at the case. Now we weren't privileged to the report because that's part of the peer review process and very, very secretive. But after they get the report back, they summarily suspend Dr. Husel. Now, what that means is you are suspended until further notice, which means basically you're done here. You're done. Then you get reported to the National Practitioner Database, and you're going to have a hell of a time finding another job. That's for sure. Now, interestingly enough, by January, Dr. Schwanner comes to work, and he is advised that you are now on administrative leave. And he stayed on administrative leave until July of 2019 when he was invited in and terminated. Now you can understand why. This has been going on for 4 or 5 years, and this just comes to his attention. He allowed this doctor to be board certified. He allowed this doctor to go through 2 credentialings and not be board certified, and they approved his privileges both times. So there was mistakes. Like, this whole case is full of mistakes on everybody's part. Everybody's part. You conduct this investigation, you don't even talk to Dr. Husel. Crazy. And so interestingly enough, so Dr. Schwanner appeared by Zoom, and Jose Baez, he's very clever. He's like, and one of the agreements was the reason he was appearing by Zoom is because he has his back condition, and he has to go lay down like every 30, 45 minutes. He has to go lay down for 10 or 15 minutes to relax his back. And then he can continue with his testimony. So Jose points out, he's like, but you're not at home, are you? You're not doing the Zoom from home. And he's like, no. And he's, aren't you in your attorney's office? Which is like right down the street from this courthouse. So you could have come here instead of going right down the street. And of course there were objection. And of course the judge, and I haven't talked about this judge. The judge sustained the objections and said, move on. Move along and ask some other questions. I thought that was very interesting. He couldn't make it to the courthouse, but he could go down the street from the courthouse and sit in his lawyer's office to have this court testimony. Crazy. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about this judge. He's very jolly, and he's always saying, okay. He'll say something and go, okay. I don't know if that's like an Ohio, Michigan thing. Okay. It's so annoying. And then when they have sidebars, he'll tell the jury, listen, I don't want to put on that white noise because it's really annoying. So just talk amongst yourselves while we have this conversation up here. So he sends his judicial assistant over to the jury box to initiate conversation with the jury. Now they're all, and the microphones stay on. You can hear the jury talking to each other. You can hear the judge talking to the lawyer. It's crazy. It's like a circus whenever they have this sidebar. It gets very loud. And, but I really thought during the cross-examination of Dr. Schwanner that this judge and Jose Baez were going to come to blows. Because, Jose was like, I don't understand, because at one point he was become argumentative with the witness, and the prosecution objected, argumentative. The judge sustained the objection, and Jose's like, I don't know how that was argumentative. Now he's being argumentative with the judge, and the judge is like, I made my ruling, Mr. Baez, and it was interesting. Because normally the judge is very friendly and jolly, and he's always stopping. He'll stop all the testimony to explain something to the jury. Let me explain subsequent remedial measures to you, Let me explain, concepts that are coming up during this trial. He explains it to the jury. I like that about him. So this has been a very, very interesting case. So the next witness is going to be like the administrator of the hospital. We're going up the chain as the testimony continues. So today and tomorrow, I'm going to be listening to the hospital administrator. I think we're up to day 7 now. So we're only a few days behind. Yay. But I have no clear idea of which way this jury is going to go. I don't know. What it will come down to is when the experts come onto the stand. What expert is Dr. Husel going to have come on and say that what he was doing was acceptable? Oh no. I don't know. Let's talk about this day in history. Did a snowball fight start the Revolutionary War? That is the question. This day in history was the Boston Massacre. Now, I've heard that term for many years, and frankly, you take American history when you're in 11th grade, and the farthest thing from your mind in 11th grade is American history. I cheated my way through American history. I had a teacher who would give a test, and he would leave the room for the entire test. So we had our books open, and we're looking for the, So it's just, he knew it was happening. We knew it was happening. Everybody knew it was happening. And I passed American history, but I don't know diddly about American history. So the Boston Massacre started because the British were occupying Boston. And at this point, no, the U.S., well, I don't know if it was considered U.S. at this time, but America had no representation on Parliament. Nobody to speak for them. They were getting taxed out the wazoo on everything, every kind of goods that they could utilize, sugar, everything that they use in everyday life. They were getting taxed on it, and they were just fed up. So one night, this group of young boys approaches this British sentry who's standing guard in front of this building, and they start throwing snowballs at him, and then it kind of escalates. They're throwing snowballs. The guy calls for, he's armed, obviously. He calls for backup. He's like, "Hey, I need some help out here. I'm like, I've got a radio. They didn't have a radio back then, so I need some help out here. I'm being pummeled with snowballs, but there were other things being thrown, but mostly snowballs." So some other guys come out, and they're all armed. Now you got all these British soldiers, you got these young boys throwing snowballs, and one of the officers gets hit with a stick and accidentally fires his weapon into the crowd. And at this point, they all start firing. They're like, "Oh, are we ready to fire?" Okay, they fire. They end up killing 6 people and injuring a whole bunch of other people. So they are put on trial for this and convicted. And their sentence was that they would be tattooed on their hand with the letter M. They went on trial for manslaughter, which means somebody died during the commission of a crime, and then you had no premeditation or intent to kill these people. But that was their sentence, that you would be tattooed with the letter M for murder, and that was it. Yeah. But it also started a snowball effect, as like people were pissed. Now people were really pissed, and it did initiate the Revolutionary War, kind of gained momentum after that, and we got rid of the British. Yes, we did. Okay, what day in history was that? 1770. This day in history, 1770. That was a long time ago. Yeah. All right, guys, that is the show for today. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to hit the like button. He's been very well behaved today during the show. Don't forget to support the channel by subscribing or becoming a member. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss a single episode. I'm trying to catch you up on the trial. Yes. So have a great day, everybody. I love you. Bye.